Hi, this is Stephen Van Kampen-Lewis on February 28th in the morning, a nice overcast day. Spring here is just around the corner in Texas, and I think we got our first springtime thunderstorm that should be rolling in tonight and tomorrow. So bye-bye winter, hello spring. That said, my spring blooming orchids are really getting into full swing. So I'm going to take a quick look at Cattleya nobilior coerulea blooming next to another one of my coerulea. So this will be kind of a cool comparison video showing the two plants. Actually, both of them are from Francisco Miranda's breeding program over there at Miranda Orchids in South Florida. The one that's just opening up right now, this is the first time that I've seen it. It comes from a division of a friend of mine who sent me a big division a couple of years ago. And so it'll be cool to have the comparison of both plants next to each other. The larger flower, which I posted a video of like a month and a half ago, I took the pollen off of that like 3 weeks ago, and those flowers are still blooming, still smell great. And that's the one that I think is polyploid. The new one that's opening up right now, I think, is probably just a typical diploid coerulea. So it'd be cool to show you all the differences between the two. And no, I have not done a ploidy test. I'm basing my assumption of polyploidy for the larger one based on the hand-sized flowers and the leaves being just hard as plastic, which are typically some of the things that you'll see from a polyploid plant. So let's go to the back and turn the camera around and look at some nobiliors. All right, and here are the two nobiliors side by side. This one is just opening up. It's got two spikes. You can see that these flowers will probably open up a little more, but not much. So you can see this one down here is probably what it's going to look like when they're all open fully. And if we kind of swing the camera around over here, you can get a pretty good idea for the shape. As you can tell, this is not a particularly well-shaped coerulea. There's big windows here. The petals are sort of sweeping forward. There's a lot of twisting, but it's a coerulea. So coeruleas are known for having less well-developed shapes and are much closer to the wild shape. That said, I really wanted to give it a few more days before I film this, but the giant one next to it is, like I said, it's probably a month and a half old. It's starting to look a little haggard. I suspect these will fall off here this week. So I figured I'd get the video out so I could show you the differences between a polyploid and a diploid plant. So this one is about this big, and I would say this one is probably close to a third to 50% larger. Again, very tough plant, very thick leaves on what I think is a polyploid compared to the diploid, which has much thinner petals and flower parts, and sort of has the standard nobilior hardness in the leaves, which is still very tough. It is kind of a desert or a xeric loving plant. But these leaves are much thicker, much more plastic, and the plant itself is a little larger. And so let's focus in on the topic of today rather than just the comparison. So this is a plant, like I said, I got as a large division from a friend of mine in Houston. Him and I have been orchid buds for a long time, and we trade plants every so often, and he grows a lot of really cool high elevation bulbophyllums. That's kind of his thing. And then the plants that we have in common is our love of really bifoliate Cattleyas and Cattleya walkeriana and nobilior. So this is a really cool one. It's very difficult to get good coeruleas or coeruleas in general of nobilior in the United States. So that particular spike has 5 flowers, which is great. This is a spike that's just opening up. You can see the flowers are still, they haven't colored up yet, and they're still kind of closed. And that's got 4 flowers on a single spike. So, looks like this is a first bloom on a Brazilian jewel, which is Walkeriana by nobilior. Wasn't a great flower, and it looks like it's kind of dying now. But yeah, this is full bloom season for the nobiliors. I do have a few others that are spiking. I've got that tipo back there that's just closing up its flowers. It was the first to open. And then I got this big one open, and now we're getting some other ones. Something interesting to note is that these are both from the same breeding program, like I said, over there with Francisco Miranda. The scent is very different. So this is the more typical nobilior scent that I'm used to. This is much sweeter. This polyploid one is a much sweeter scent. It's almost like a grape bubble gum. You know, I got a lot of questions online about the side lobes of this one, and maybe it is a hybrid of some sort because the side lobes are open. And you can see, you know, and Francisco Miranda actually told me last year, he said, no, this is pure nobilior. But you can see why people would ask that. So typically the side lobes enclose or encircle the column there, which is where the pollen, well, all the reproductive organs are stored right in there. So this one is open. This one has a different scent. This one is closed and has more of a typical nobilior scent. But yeah, as far as I can tell, they are, or as far as I've been told, they're both nobiliors, and both are coerulea, as you can tell. And I'm really excited to have both of them. They're really cool. It's not, like I said, it's not common to find these guys. And of course, care for these is the same as all the nobiliors and Walkerianas. Really, I treat all of my Cattleya is pretty much the same. Clay pot, large grade Orchiata. They get watered daily in the summertime, and then maybe once a week this time of year, and I'll start picking up the water as the heat increases. But got a cool nobilior hybrid with Cattleya blooming there. I've got some amethysta glosses that are getting crazy, and Ancilea, which is taking its sweet time to open up, so I'll make a video about that one next week. And a sneak peek for one of my future videos. See ya.